What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's YouTube video. We've got a new diet because I'll be honest, I've been slacking on this bulk. My 90-10 has turned into about a 70-30. And what I mean by that is I was typically 90% whole foods, 10% fun foods, and that slowly turned into about 70% whole foods and about 30% fun foods. Lots of ice cream, lots of cake. So my birthday recently, lots of eating out. So we need to clean up the diet as we finish up this bulk, and we're gonna try out supposedly the single best bulking diet, which is the vertical diet. I'll dive into more about that later, but we just got some groceries after my workout, so I'm gonna go ahead, get those all laid out, talk about the different protein, carbs, fat sources, as well as some micronutrients, and then I'll definitely sit down with you guys and go over the vertical diet as a whole, coined by Stan Efferding. I think he's like, what was it? He's coined like the strongest bodybuilder of all time, something like that. So we're gonna be trying out his diet for about a week, and shoot, I might even extend it to a month, depending on how things go. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get all these groceries laid out. We'll talk about the different foods we're gonna be eating on this diet. Now we've got everything set up, so we're gonna start over here on this left side. We got our protein sources. So essentially the vertical diet, I'll actually pop up a little picture right here. It is primarily red meat, white rice, and then some micronutrients that you'll see, things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, spinach, peppers, oranges, orange juice, cranberries, all that kind of stuff. But protein sources and even Greek yogurts. So we got some Greek yogurts for protein. We've got some eggs, pasture raised eggs right there. I already have a carton in the fridge as well, so lots of eggs. We've got our ground beef. So this is 92 and this is 93.7. I might eventually up the fat content in my ground beef if I feel like I need more calories on the bulk, but right now we're going with the leaner sources. Carbs, we've got some potatoes, sweet potatoes, and then a ton of these rice packets. These things are absolutely a game changer. They take 90 seconds, super simple, and they're 400 calories a pop, which is perfect for me and my post-workout meal, which I'll be whipping up here shortly. Then we've got some bananas. I don't think these are technically on the vertical diet, quote unquote, but they are one of my favorite carb sources, especially pre-workout, so we've got some of those. We've got some oranges, some blueberries to go in the Greek yogurts. Then we've got our micronutrients. We got spinach, red, also yellow and orange bell peppers, some almonds as far as some fat sources go. These were actually probably one of the most expensive things I bought. These were like $12 a bag, so might need to find a cheaper alternative to those almonds. We got some orange juice as well. So as you guys can see, fairly simple. We got proteins, a lot of carbs, obviously fruits and vegetables are carbs as well, some micronutrients, and then some healthy fats over there. I will definitely be doing a full day of eating as well. So don't be concerned, I will do a full day of eating. Probably tomorrow, I'll take you guys through a full day of eating, exactly what I'm eating meal by meal on the vertical diet for myself, because you can adjust it, because it's just kind of a guideline, and you can adjust the calories, you can adjust the protein, and I'm not gonna be doing probably anything but ground beef. He recommends like steaks and different cuts of meat and stuff like that, but honestly, I'm pretty cheap, balling on a budget right now. All of this was just over $110. So it's not very expensive. It is a little bit more expensive because of the meat and honestly the almonds, but should last me a while, and it's a lot cheaper than doing like high cuts and really nice cuts of steak. Just going with the ground beef is definitely cheaper than that. So maybe I would say, this will probably last me 6-ish days, 5 or 6 days, if not a little bit more. So I would say maybe $150 per week, which for a healthy diet is not that bad. That's like one night out of the bars for some of my friends. So I don't feel too bad spending about $150 on good healthy food for the entire week to help me finish up my bulk strong. But yeah, that is the grocery haul. I'll go ahead and see you guys tomorrow when I do a full day of eating, and we'll also talk more about the vertical diet as a whole. What are you doing in there? Is that your bed? Are you tired? That cannot be comfortable. You guys see that? That cannot be comfortable. But we love you, Maisie. And it is time for a full day of eating on the vertical diet. So that's what I'm gonna take you guys through today, as well as once I go over this meal, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about the vertical diet itself. But this meal, we have a plate. We've got 300 grams of potatoes, salt, pepper, a little bit of olive oil spray, air fried, 400 degrees for 16 minutes. We've got 4 whole eggs cooked in butter, about one teaspoon or 7 grams is what I actually used. Then we have a whole pepper over here. This is just an orange bell pepper, and then 1 glass or 1 cup of orange juice. That is pulp-free, simply orange juice. No sugar added, but does have some sugar in it because oranges have sugar in general. But that is meal number 1. It is 724 calories, 88 grams of carbs, 28 grams of fat, and 33 grams of protein. This is also gonna be, I guess my pre-workout meal. Also have a small snack before I go to the gym, which you guys will see later on. But this is pretty much like my pre-workout meal. I'm gonna be working out a little bit earlier in the day on this diet, and that's kind of just honestly personal preference. I could work out really anytime throughout the day, but I want to have this meal, have a small snack, go to the gym, then have my other 2 meals after that I'll show you guys. But as far as the vertical diet goes, so I'm gonna read some of this because I took some notes on it, but as far as the vertical diet in general, as I mentioned, that picture will kind of pop up here again, this is like a very basic one, but don't feel like you're just limited to these specific foods, because he pretty much says any fruits are good. As far as the vegetables, we want to keep things low on the FODMAP, and rather than messing up, so it's the FODMAP is essentially the fermentable. Oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna try. I'll throw it up here as well. So essentially what FODMAP stands for, it's these. Basically, it's a type of carbohydrate that is resistant to digestion. So typically, it's gonna be things like just a couple of like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, things that might be a little bit more hard to digest for people. It might cause a little bloating, indigestion, gas, stuff like that. So he's basically trying to say, this is like the primary sources of my protein, my lean meats, my salmon, and then carbs are as white rice, very easily digestible. And then same thing with vegetables. Like we want to keep things to bell peppers, to spinach, things that be easily digestible, and keep away from things that are not digestible. So as far as the vertical diet goes, it is obviously performance-based. That's the number one thing. Stan Efferding, the guy who created it, also just an absolute beast. He is, yes, he's obviously on juice. Don't think that he got looking like that just by eating this diet, but it's things to improve our hormones, improve our energy, improve our performance in the gym, reduce any sort of indigestion, and it reduce bloating, make sure we have good digestion so we're not having sort of what I'll call like impediment in the gym. Because one thing why I'm doing this diet, or kind of like starting this diet this week, is I noticed my gym sessions were actually being impeded by my digestion, or by the food I was eating. I was eating so much food, trying to add weight. I just couldn't get enough food in and have it digest properly enough to have my heavy leg days not impacted. Like my RDLs were impacted, my hack squat was impacted, even my bench press the other day was impacted, because I like went to go arch back. I was like, oh, my stomach, I feel like I have like a knot or like a lump in my stomach. So the really big thing is digestion and improved performance. And yeah, you guys will be seeing kind of what I eat throughout the day to day. I'll be eating the rest of the week and definitely give you guys my opinion on the diet. But so far, I really enjoy it. It is semi-restrictive in the sense there are definitely some things that he kind of wants to have like complete hands off, and you guys will notice that you can definitely work things in. I still think the 80-20 rule is great, but it is something where we just have a little bit less options to choose from. So I think any diet that's restrictive in that sense isn't ideal, but overall it's still a really good overall nutritionally dense diet plan with lots of, once again, low FODMAP food items to improve digestion, minimize bloating, and also I think it can actually improve your hair, skin, and nails too, just with some of the micronutrients that they have throughout, is kind of one of those like claims that he makes. But yeah, any more information, I think he has like a whole website, like verticaldiet.com, or he maybe has like a meal prep company now. But I think once again, most of this stuff is pretty easy. You don't need a meal prep company for. You can kind of make it yourself. Just take the time to do so. Without further ado, if you guys have any questions about it, definitely, I mean, you can leave them down in the comments below, or you can just go ahead and do a little bit of Google searching yourself about the vertical diet. Stan talks about it all the time. Like every podcast he's ever been on, I think he talks about the diet. But yeah, we're gonna be eating this the rest of the week. This is meal number 1. I'll go ahead and see you guys at the pre-workout snack before we head to the gym.
Hey, old there, Macy. How are you? Huh? How are you?
And after a little bit of computer work, it is time for our pre-workout snack. Looks like Maisie wants to go outside, so we're gonna let her outside real quick. But this is the one meal that I guess is kind of like, I would call my own slight addition or modification to the vertical diet, because it's a protein shake. I don't think Stan really has that. I mean, you probably have to ask him if he like recommends protein shakes. I don't see why not if you are short on your protein goal. But we're gonna have a quick protein shake. We're gonna have a scoop of the Transparent Labs, the whey protein isolate. By far the best flavor is, well, okay, controversial take. I think it's milk chocolate. My girlfriend thinks it's dark chocolate, but it's kind of like they're both very similar. The dark chocolate just has a little bit more bitterness to it. We're also gonna be having 2 bananas, and unfortunately, these are the only bananas the grocery store had. They didn't have any that were ripe. Once again, my girlfriend likes them like this, like a little bit more firm. I like mine like pretty much on the brink of going bad, like extremely, extremely ripe. I think they taste a little bit more sweet. But as far as the vertical diet goes, once again, you probably have to ask Stan directly if this would be quote unquote like perfect in the vertical diet. But as far as protein goes, I mean, this is the cleanest protein out there. It has, let's see, all natural flavoring. It is no artificial dyes, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial flavoring. And then the ingredients list, if you guys can see that right there, I mean, it is simply just like whey protein isolate, cocoa powder, some natural flavoring, some sodium, what is that, chloride, and then some stevia. I mean, it is very, very low calorie. It is, why is that so red? Oh my goodness. It's low calorie, it has no artificial flavorings, it is very easily digestible for myself. If you do have problems digesting protein powders, I'd recommend trying this one out because I've never had any issues, but I have had with other companies that do have some artificial flavorings or sweeteners. But yeah, as always, code Perez gets you 10% off any Transparent Lab products. But yeah, that is my slight modification to the vertical diet is two bananas, one protein shake as a pre-workout snack. So we're gonna have this, finish up some computer work and work out in about an hour. And then you guys will see the post-workout meals and everything else afterwards for the full day of eating. But yeah, as far as macros too, I don't have my phone with me, but I'll go ahead and throw those up right here. But my guess is what, 2 bananas, 200 calories, couple of almond milk, like maybe like 360 calories and 30 grams of protein, something like that. But I'll put up the exact macros there, and I'll see you guys at the next meal. We're back from the gym and we got a post-workout meal, whipped up some ground beef. So what we have right here in this bowl, we have 8 ounces of 93.7 ground beef. I had some leftover 93.7 from just like last week. So it is a little bit higher fat, or sorry, a little bit leaner and not as high fat as I'll probably do later in this week, probably go to like 90-10, just a little more calories in. Since I'll be honest, like I am feeling full on this diet. Like it is extremely filling for me because I was, as I mentioned, probably leaning on to a little bit more of like a dirty bulk, more like 70-30, not so clean. And cleaning up my diet has made me feel a lot more full, which is also an issue because I'm trying to add more weight. So it's kind of like the balancing act of cleaning up the diet, but also trying to add weight. So I might be increasing the fat of my ground beef. We also have under there, you guys can see hopefully some sweet potatoes on this side as well. So we have 1 sweet potato chopped up, about 250 grams of that, as well as 1 cup of sauteed spinach, which basically whittles down, or I should say, it wilts down, I guess, as you cook it to like almost nothing. So got that in there. We're also gonna be having 150 grams of carrots. So I got my food scale out. Honestly, haven't broken out the food scale in a while. We're also gonna have 1 serving of these almonds. I'm not sure if I'm cool or if Stan would be cool with me having like the seasoned almonds, but these things are like crack. I absolutely love these smokehouse almonds. It's gonna be 1 serving of that to get some healthy fats in as well. And then this whole meal right here comes out to be 851 calories, 63 grams of carbs, 42 grams of fat, and 58 grams of protein. That is meal number 2, the post-workout meal. I'm gonna dive in. I'll see you guys at the 4th meal of the day.
Maisie, what are you up to, huh? Lazy day because it's raining outside. You're so cute.
The time has come for our final meal of the day, and I'll be honest, I'm still really not that hungry. It's almost 7:45, and my last meal I think was maybe around like 3, and I'm just not super hungry. And I think this is a combination of a few things. One, I just haven't really been having super nutrient dense food. I've been kind of slacking on the clean diet and been dirty bulking a little bit. So my appetite is not really where it should be. But also I think maybe I was gaining weight too quickly and my body just didn't want to gain weight that fast. Plus, whenever I go over 180, it is hard for me to push my calories beyond that, but I don't really want to push myself anymore. I definitely want to stay in a fed state so I can train hard and hopefully grow a little bit more muscle, but I don't have a goal of like trying to reach 190. Like it's more so I'm okay with my weight staying or going down a little bit if it's the case where I improve my performance while still having a good clean diet. So one of the things, I'm not going to be able to eat this entire packet of ready rice. I'm going to go ahead and make it. I'm going to use half of it. And then in order to get the rest of my carbs, I'm still aiming for 3,000 calories. I'm gonna do a couple things. One, I'm gonna add another banana in because for some reason, like rice does not sound good. As far as carbs go, rice is the last thing I wanna eat. So we're gonna add a banana, we're gonna add a sumo orange, and we'll go ahead and have 2 servings of these almonds because like I said, almonds are my absolute favorite. And then also, of course, or ground beef, another 8 ounces there. So we'll have a full pound of ground beef for the day. And I do need some micronutrients, so we are gonna go with a little bit more carrots. So I pull those out. But carrots I can gnaw on pretty much like very easily. I'm not gonna feel like those are like too much food. It's definitely filling. But yeah, that's gonna be the meal. I'll go ahead and whip everything together, show you guys the final product, but keeping things simple. But I will be having, as I mentioned, 2 servings of almonds to try to hit my calories for the day. But let me put everything together. I'll show you guys the final product. I will say heating up leftovers is very, very simple. It literally took a minute and a half to microwave the rice, a minute for the ground beef, and we have our meal right here. So we have 8 ounces of ground beef as well as half a packet of that Uncle Ben's ready rice. Actually, I don't even know if I can call it Uncle Ben anymore. I think I threw it away. But I think they like rebranded for some reason. I don't know why, but we're also gonna have 150 grams of our carrots. We're gonna have 2 servings of these almonds. These are definitely gonna be what I'll probably be using for the rest of the week to get my calories up, since I am still trying to bulk and gain weight. But honestly, I might have my weight go down. You guys have to stay tuned. I'll definitely, well, stay tuned for later in this video, because I'll definitely guys give a full update on my weight starting on the diet, which I think, let me go ahead and double check. I mean, I think I got to 185 in the morning. Let me go and check that real quick before I misspeak. All right, so 184.6 was the high weigh-in on, let's see, what date was that? On Monday. Yes, so Monday was 184.6. I'm already down a little bit of weight, so if the weight keeps going down, I'll definitely have to either add, I don't know, maybe some more almonds in, or maybe some Greek yogurts, maybe some more orange juice in the morning, something like that, maybe even more eggs, because I will say ground beef and rice, there's only so much about that I can stomach at the moment, just with how full I am in my building phase. But yeah, okay, so we got that. We've got our banana, our orange. We're gonna have 150 grams of carrots, and then that will cap off our meal for the day. I did go ahead and go into MyFitnessPal and see that this does hit all my goals. So this final meal is gonna be 1,105 calories. I know it's kind of crazy, but the ground beef and rice has a decent amount, and as well as 2 servings of almonds. That's like 350 calories just from 2 servings of almonds. So that's why those are gonna be my trick to get my calories up on the bulk that I'm currently on. But it's 107 grams of carbs, 49 grams of fat, and then 66 grams of protein. And that brings our day total to exactly what I wanted, 3,040 calories. My goal is around 3,000 calories at the moment. And that's 314 grams of carbs, 123 grams of fat, and 189 grams of protein. So enough protein, enough carbs, enough fat, everything looks good there. And I will say, once again, digestion's improving, but just having, I will say, not super palatable foods makes it a little harder to gain weight. But it's also kind of a cheat code for when you are in a dieting phase. You probably don't want food that tastes super, super good, because it can be very easy to overconsume. So things like Doritos, Cheetos, ice cream, cakes, donuts, things that taste really good, you want more of them. So when you have, I don't call them bland foods, but yeah, more like, I guess, less bland than cake and ice cream, like it's gonna be harder to overconsume carrots, oranges, ground beef, and rice, versus if this was Doritos, a cheeseburger, and French fries, right? It's just that kind of thing where you eat less because it doesn't taste as good. Not that you have to make a bland diet or a diet that doesn't taste good, but things are very easily overconsumed nowadays, and it's due to the fact that they taste so good. But that is a wrap on the full day of eating. I'll definitely, once again, continue to film my week. I'll probably do maybe an update every other day, something like that, based on my performance, my weight, how things are going. But I don't really plan to change the diet up too much. I definitely will be doing 4 meals a day like you've seen. Ground beef and rice are the main portion of the last 2. The first one, eggs and potatoes, the protein shake and the banana, and then I'll add some things on the side like our carrots, our spinach, our bell pepper, oranges, and then almonds to get those calories up. But I'll end things here for today. I'll see you guys at the next check-in. So here we've got another meal for the vertical diet. This is actually something I've done in the past, but haven't done yet on this week of the vertical diet. But we got some ground beef and rice under there, and then some eggs on top. And what I like to do, keep it like over easy, so you can break the eggs open and use the yolk kind of like as a sauce. Then we're also gonna be having some bell peppers on the sides. You can see a little food porn right there. So that is our second meal of the day. First meal, one thing I don't think I mentioned earlier, you can actually have Greek yogurts on the vertical diet as well. I think Stan wants normally whole fat Greek yogurts or whole fat yogurts, but I decided to go Greek yogurts. Hopefully, once again, no one gets too mad at me, but we did have some Greek yogurts this morning, went for our run, and then we got our post-workout, or I guess we've been doing a lot of stuff today, but our second meal of the day, a big meal. I think this is about 10 ounces of ground beef, half a cup of rice, and then our 3 eggs. And another thing, so I'll throw a little screenshot up. You guys can see here. So day 1 of the vertical diet, I don't know if they can they see that? Mm-hmm. So it was 184 on day 1, and we've continually lost weight since then. So it's one of those things where I think I mentioned we have been losing weight, but the other day went ahead and just said, you know what, I'm not gonna track calories anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and eat a little bit more of everything. So a little bit more butter with my eggs. I'm having a little bit more almonds. I'm having a little more ground beef, a little bit fattier ground beef. And you guys saw the weight went back up. So hopefully what's gonna happen is hopefully we stay above 180 the rest of the week. And then once this does end, like if I was not doing the vertical diet challenge, I would have chocolate milk. I would have maybe a Fit Crunch bar. I would have just like little things to add a little bit more calories in. But a couple of things I have learned. 1, I do have better digestion overall. 2, I do like eggs, so that's a really good thing because I love eggs. I can definitely keep those in the diet. But two bad things, as you guys saw, my weight went down. And then also I am full all the time. Like I really don't want anything else to eat. Like obviously, yeah, candy sounds good, but like I'm so full and satiated, which is a good thing. So I'll definitely check with you guys back. So what is that, shoot, day? I mean, the challenge is pretty much over. So I'll maybe check with you guys tomorrow, maybe Monday, go over how everything went, and then any kind of like pros, cons, what I think could be maybe improved upon, and what I'm gonna do in the future. But without further ado, that is, yeah, this meal and today's check-in. To wrap on the vertical diet for a week. I do apologize for the lack of check-ins. I did that full day of eating, I did the grocery haul, that one other check-in, and it was a really busy week. Katie and I are in the current process of moving to our new apartment, and it was just like not conducive to be able to film and then also travel down there and do everything else. But I did stick to the diet, and I guess that's kind of one of the positives. I wrote down a few positives and negatives to the diet as a whole, so I'll go ahead and read those off. But one of the positives, it is very straightforward. It is not a complicated diet whatsoever. It is, hey, have ground beef, have rice or potatoes or sweet potatoes, add some vegetables on the side, and then whatever fruit you want. So it's very straightforward. It was very easy to follow. I could cook up 2 or 3 pounds of ground beef at once, save that in the fridge, and then whenever I want to make something, microwave some rice, air fry some potatoes, add some ground beef in there, and then maybe add an egg or add some sauteed spinach or some cut up bell peppers or whatever it was. So it was a very straightforward diet, which is awesome. Another positive is my digestion was muy bueno. It was pretty much the best it's been in a long time. Consistent, it was solid, it was just, yeah, everything about digestion was good. Minimal bloating, no stomach aches, no cramps, no impingement on my performance, which is really good, or no negative effects to my performance, which previously I'd mentioned that I'd go and do a really heavy RDL after I had a big breakfast of, I don't know, like a bunch of random stuff. I'd go into the gym, I'd be like, oh, my stomach hurts. I feel like I've got like a rock in my stomach. It just didn't really feel good. My performance has been great. I had a PR yesterday, 120-pound dumbbells for 2 sets of 8 reps, which is a PR. So performance was definitely up, even though my body weight was down a little bit, which I'll get to in part of the negatives, but good digestion, good performance, very easy to follow. And then also, let's see what else I wrote. Oh my gosh, I can't even read that. Oh, easy to prep is what I wrote. Oh my God. I don't want to show you guys this, but my handwriting sucks. But I know, there's a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, my handwriting sucks, but easy to prep. As I mentioned, something that you could literally bag, bagged rice. You can cook rice at once. You can cook ground beef, cut up bell peppers. Super easy to prep ahead of time. So very easy to stick to even when I'm super busy. So a lot of positives. As far as the negatives go, it is fairly restrictive. I missed out on quite a few things I wanted to eat. Like I missed my Fit Crunch bar. I had a Fit Crunch bar pretty much every single night for the last several months, and I could not have that chocolate, that little sweet tooth kind of like kick at the end of the night that I always look forward to. I couldn't have my oats, which is funny enough, exactly what I'm about to go into my kitchen and make are my pre-workout oats. The 2 packs of quick oats, the banana, the peanut butter, stuff like that. I absolutely love that meal, and I did miss it a little bit. So I'm definitely going to be making that. Also, not, I won't say bland, but a little bit bland-ish. Like you don't have, I mean, I'm sure you could probably use some seasonings and stuff like that, but it's rather bland. You're having white potatoes, white rice, sweet potatoes, ground beef, with maybe you could use like salt, pepper, or onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, but I decided to keep it bland because he doesn't mention many seasonings in his actual vertical diet or that I've seen. So it's a little bit bland in my opinion. For me, it was hard to gain weight. So this is definitely gonna be somewhat of a controversial thing. Like for me, I'm putting the negatives because I'm trying to bulk right now. And when I cleaned up my diet, went vertical, I stopped gaining weight. I actually lost weight for the first couple days. I went from 184 to like 181, then 180. My weight is back up to 182 because I made a few changes I'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, my weight log went from, I could go ahead and screenshot this actually. It went from 184.6 to 182, 180 I'll throw up here. 180, 179 even, then 181, 181, 182. So it did slowly go back up. That's for 2 reasons. One, I added a lot more butter and olive oil to what I was cooking. So when I was making my eggs, instead of having like 7 grams of butter, I was having like probably 20 grams of butter, just a crap ton of butter in the pan, to make sure that those eggs were just coated in butter so they'd up my calories a little bit. And then my go-to meal ended up being the one I showed you guys the other day when I was with Katie, was white rice or potatoes, or even a sweet potato. So some sort of carb source with about, probably say maybe 10 to 12 ounces, almost a full pound of ground beef, and then 3 or 4 eggs on top. That ended up being my go-to meal. And my morning ended up being still eggs and potatoes or Greek yogurt with something else. And then I'd have bell pepper on the side, maybe some carrots or spinach, and then I would have a glass of orange juice. And that pretty much became my staple meal. Carb source, ground beef, eggs, and then fruits or vegetables, and then the orange juice on the side. That was kind of my staple meal. I had that twice a day and at least 2 pounds of ground beef. I also increased from 90-10 ground beef to 85-15 ground beef, so got some more calories in. So it was harder for me to gain weight because I probably pick the wrong foods to start with, or the wrong amounts. So, but I will say in general, like, it's positive for some people. Oh, it's hard to gain weight. Oh, I like that diet, but it's also easier to gain, or harder to gain weight for me, which is a negative because I'm trying to bulk. Limited options. That's one of the definitely negatives. It's restrictive. It's limiting. You can't have just whatever you want whenever you feel like it, even if it fits your macros, even if you're following like the 90-10 rule. I couldn't have my Fit Crunch bar because it's not a part of his plan, even though like a Fit Crunch bar is, for me, it's like a candy bar at the end of the day. It makes me feel like I don't have to restrict myself at all. But on his plan, it's like, oh, it's not part of the plan, so you can't have it. So little things like that, which I definitely think that there is some room for improvement, or something where no diet should be super restrictive and limiting, that you should have the ability to, once again, work in a little bit of ice cream or a sushi night, and keep it in moderation, right? Like once a week, or once again, 150 calorie protein bar or 150 calorie ice cream bar at the end of the day is not going to ruin a diet, like if you have your fruits, vegetables, and protein hit throughout the rest of the day. So very nutritional dense, which is a plus. And then expense, I put expense at neutral, because you can definitely make this a very, very expensive diet if you do like grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef and ground bison. If you do only pasture-raised eggs, but you can also make it cheap if you go just like to Walmart, get their 85-15 log of like 5-pound ground beef, their white rice, their potatoes. So you can either make it very cheap or very expensive, depending really on the meat that you choose to use throughout the diet. Because I could have gotten like filet mignons and steaks and stuff like that and made it super, super expensive, or keep it neutral with like, some healthier ground beef, some nice eggs, but also like white rice is cheap, potatoes are cheap, bananas are cheap, stuff like that. So I'm gonna say cost-wise or expense-wise, neutral, but there are definitely some positive negatives. And overall, I'm definitely going to be continuing to use some aspects of the diet moving forward. I really don't know how much orange juice I'll be drinking moving forward. I don't really how much, I would say, rice and potatoes, or sorry, rice I'll be using moving forward, because I'm a big fan of potatoes and sweet potatoes at the moment, but definitely some aspects of it that I will continue to do as far as digestion and performance, but also some things I'm definitely gonna add my oats back in. I'm planning to have some chocolate milk, have my Fit Crunch bar back, some little things like that to help me, A, finish off my bulk strong and gain some more weight back, but also make sure I have the good digestion to help support the progress in the gym and everything else I want. But overall, vertical diet, is it the best bulking diet of all time? For me, no, but I think there are a lot of good positive things that go into it. It's simple, it's easy to follow, it is definitely very nutrient dense, easy on digestion. And then if I think you follow, let's say 90% vertical diet and 10% you add in things like, once again, like I mentioned, my oats, my maybe sushi night with Katie once a week, my chocolate milk, my Fit Crunch bar, I add those things in, and for me, it becomes a perfect diet. But the vertical diet itself, I think it's a little bit limited, but it's a very good starting point for anybody that's trying to, once again, help their or improve their digestion and performance in the gym, and have a starting point or a launch point to then figure out what works best for them individually. Without further ado, that is a wrap on today's video. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down in the comments below, and I'll get to those as soon as I can. Otherwise, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time. Peace.